So here we have the overview. All right, so this is a visual of the academic year. And we are now over here in purple, the end of year submissions, right? It's the beginning of May. The snapshots are running. And anytime now you submit a file, you can expect a revision to process and you can analyze the data. I will warn you that you want to completely submit a data set to make use of the reports, but you can submit your files. And when you have a complete submission for end of year one, you can analyze your report. So there's no impediments to your file submission now, right? So we also had key dates on the last slide, but this is a little bit easier to read and more pronounced. So the snapshots began on May 6th. That was last week. So you have access to all the reports. We're targeting July 11th as the zero error milestone, right? And so we'll be pushing hard. We'll send emails, make phone calls. We're always offering assistance. But we find LEAs that have zero errors 2 weeks prior to the deadline have a great rate of having not only certifying, of course, you have zero errors, you can certify, but you allow time to review the reports, right? You can identify any inaccurate data, even if you have to decertify after or disapprove after the initial deadline on July 25th. You can target the amendments you want to make and be efficient. You only have approximately 2 weeks of an amendment window, so it's imperative that your data, when you approve on July 25th, is already in great shape, right? You don't want to be doing the bulk of your submission right before the deadline or in the amendment window. Okay, so the initial deadline, of course, is July 25th, and then the close of the amendment window is August 8th. If you're in end of year one, so most likely you're a 9 through 12 or a K through 12 district. Remember that your 4-year cohort is a data pool. It's not from the certified reports, and it will be August 15th. So there is about a week difference between your 4-year cohort and end of year one. Okay, so what's the purpose or what do we collect in end of year one? I should say. We provide course section and completer counts by state course code. The SCTE file, we identify CT participants and completers, and we provide counts of work-based learning programs completed. And then, as I alluded to, the purpose, right? We have this path of data flow. It's going to start in your local system with the data collection, and then it goes to the state, right? We have CALPADS. Our big products for end of year one is going to be the California School Dashboard. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment. We present this data on DataQuest to inform parents who make decisions, right? Which is imperative, right? Graduation rates, student success is a large part of the dashboard. And on DataQuest, parents decide where they're going to send their kids to school. And then ultimately, we have federal accountability, right? We get our funding from the state and federal government, and we have to be accountable, right? So some of the more important legislation that provides us funding is Carl Perkins for your CTE participants and completers, the Individuals with Disability Education Act, some of the work-based learning, and then student completion, student progress from end of year one. The Workforce Innovation Opportunity Act is big, and also ESSA, right? The Every Student Succeeds Act. All right, so we talked about the California School Dashboards. End of year one is vital for providing information or informing the CCI. So here we have PDF that we blew up. Hopefully it's easy for you to read. And you can identify the measures of college readiness, and we've highlighted those that are coming directly from CalPAD. So you can see your college credit courses, the syllabi literacy, the UC system, that's from the student enrollment file, the course completion. So if it's red or green, that's end of year one, right? That's directly from the files that you're submitting that are specific to end of year one. And then the same with career readiness, right? You can see military leadership, your CTE pathway, career readiness, all three files come from end of year one. So whether it's course completion, CTE, or work-based learning, all this, everything highlighted is specifically end of year one. So your career ready students are going to come from the data submitted in CalPADS. All right, and so we have the dashboard college and career indicator clarification. The guidance is courses that are taken by students that have no association or oversight from the school should not be reported in CalPADS, right? The dual enrollment courses in which students are enrolled in your school through an agreement, often with the community college, are the kind of courses we're looking for. Students that independently enroll in college, it's, not just the dashboard, but in fall two, the CTC doesn't want it either for assignment monitoring, but specifically for end of year one, we want to exclude those courses, right? In addition to the college credit courses, if they're CTE courses, you're going to have to code them with the 23 or 24. And then the CTE pathway criteria, we've changed the verbiage a little bit. I just want to focus on one thing that has been overlooked in the past is the expectation that the students will have to have a C or better. And I heard it emphasized by Paula. We'll go to the documentation. They are looking at the actual grade in the SE record. So they will be looking at the actual grade. So we're going to identify our completers, but they still are looking at the grade of the capstone course. So the bare minimum roles you need for end of year one are listed, right? Often you all will have many more roles because you're not just reporting end of year one. However, if you have someone that is supporting you and they don't need full access to CalPads, either edit or view roles, you may want to provide them, right? So the information specific would be student search. They want the ability to look up a student, the student enrollment of the SETE, right? So edit or view, that's going to look at the college, the career technical education, the course and the student course section roles, right? You need both of those for course completion. Staff demographic, if they're going to be looking up any staff that are providing information or submitting those records. And then the work-based learning. And of course, end of year one reports role. If there's specific subject matter experts, perhaps the data collection certifier not listed. And we'll go into the documentation here shortly. Right, I have Chrome, my web browser, and if you type in California School Dashboard Resources, you'll come to this page. The technical guide is a great resource. The handbook is the best resource, but I just want to bring to your attention this link is broke right now. It's out of our control. So you don't have, and most likely they're probably updating the handbook for this year. You can always search the handbook and find the most recent. I don't see it listed. Let's just add the word CalPads. Here it is. Handbook connections between CalPads and the school dashboard. They have several different years. It hasn't changed much. It's a great resource. We've shown it before in the past. It identifies the reports you should look at. And so, if you don't use Word documents a lot, the first thing you do for quick search, Control F gets you here to search. You go to headings, right? And you can go to whatever you're looking for. So this is the college career indicator. Perhaps I can enlarge. Well, I can't enlarge the side, so hopefully you're following. But in headings, I went straight to college career indicator. And so it will tell you which reports you should review. It's going to identify 310, 311. You can scroll through, see the different data elements, identifying college credit courses with the state course code. It references the appendix. It tells you what to look for on your report. So at 310, you can see it has an example of a college credit course or the non-standard instructional level. We'll talk more about this shortly. And then it also identifies, it's looking at 311 at the semester and the grade. So when we were talking about just the grade is important for CTE completers and their grade in their capstone course, you can see that for the reports, it will identify the grade. And so it has this for all the data elements that go into the CCI, the College and Career Dashboard, right? And it's not just for the CCI, but as what's relevant for end of year one, you see that here. But for end of year three, you have chronic absenteeism and suspension rate. So this is a a great resource. But there are or is documentation specific to the CCI. And if you click Dashboard Technical Guide, it used to be a document. Now you have a whole bunch of resources. And the college career document is specific solely to the CCI. I could just drag it over here, hit Control F, you go to headings. I think the appendix is very valuable, but it will inform you of all the different elements. Again, in CalPads used for the CCI, you can see your dual enrollment college courses. These are all the different measures. You start to see work-based learning, which Kyron will talk about. So this is a great document. So here are the different work-based learning programs, which we have as work-based learning type codes. So this is a document I reference a lot, and the appendix helps there as well. So as far as trying to identify what data is going to go be used on the dashboard and how to estimate your counts, this is a great tool. Of course, as far as CalPads is concerned, you always want to use the user manual. I want to go to the home page, the end of your roadmap. You have your end of year one submission. So if you're new, this is where you should start with end of year one. It's the basics of what you need to do, what to look for. It's not just end of year one. That's why I went ahead and skipped to end of year one. And if you're really green, if you're really new, there's a functionality map, online maintenance, student maintenance, or course data, depending on what you need information of how to submit. And you can see you have your work-based learning, student career technical, and then under course data, information how to submit your course and student course section. Those are the files required. And then last but not least, I guess I always is the CalPads system documents. Your code sets, we'll probably reference those. Your file specifications. There is one I am not showing you now, and perhaps we'll reference it when Kyron is doing CTE. But there's a document that combines the valid code combinations and the code sets together when you're mapping your CTE courses.
You have completed this module. Please continue to the next video. Thank you.